In order to realize our creative visions, it's essential that we develop the craft of our instrument, which leads us to the area of technique. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different exercises that concentrate on developing speed and accuracy. Now for me, the most effective tool for developing these areas is the metronome. Whether that metronome is a simple click or a drum machine or sequencer isn't important. The important thing is that there's a steady and even pulse. Now practicing and playing to a metronome will help you to play accurately at any speed and also show you how to subdivide the beat any which way that you want. Now the first exercise involves a very familiar looking shape. It's based off of an A major scale in the 4th position, 2 octaves. So let me show you that fingering first. This exercise involves playing to a steady pulse. In other words, the speed or tempo of the click is not going to change, but how we subdivide that click is going to change. First, we'll start with playing 1 note per beat, which is chord notes. Now, I have a metronome setting of 66 beats per minute, which is really slow, but by the time we're done, you're going to be playing a lot of notes per beat, so it's important that we start slow. Remember also to keep a consistent down, up, down, up, down, up picking pattern the entire time. Here is chord notes to the metronome. 3, 4. Now when you're playing this, remember it might seem easy, but really concentrate getting even spacing between all those notes. It's actually more difficult when you have a lot of space in between the clicks. Now let me demonstrate 8th notes to the metronome. This would be 2 notes per beat. 3, 4. And now triplets, which is 3 notes to the beat. 3, 4. The next division is 16th notes, 4 notes per beat. 3, 4. Now we're getting a bit faster. The next division is 6 notes per beat, or 16th note triplets. And the last group is 32nd notes, or 8 notes per beat. And this is going to be quite faster than what we started. But remember, the pulse didn't change at all. It's just the division of that pulse. 3, 4. Okay, now that you're familiar with playing to a metronome and subdividing the beats, I'd like to show you how to increase your speed. And what we're going to do here is we're going to develop accuracy at high speeds. The basic concept is you start with a slow tempo on the metronome, play the exercise or example as many times until you've mastered it at that tempo, and then increase the metronome about 8 beats per minute, and then play the exercise over and over at that tempo, increase it, and so on until you get to your desired tempo. I'm going to demonstrate this with an exercise that uses chromatics, 4 fingers in a row, and they're played as 16th notes to the metronome. Let me show you the exercise first, then I'll show you how to develop the speed. As I mentioned, this exercise is based off of a 16th note pattern, which means you're going to be playing 4 notes per beat. Besides concentrating on getting those notes to fall evenly over each click, you should also accent every 4 notes. In other words, every time the click comes down, accent with a harder pick stroke. So your group of 4 would sound like this. Etc., etc. And what this is going to enable you to do is when you get faster and faster, that accent will be your reference point. In other words, at a slow tempo, your accent might just sound like etc., and you'll be able to know where you are. But at a faster tempo, when the notes are whizzing by, your accent might be, in other words, and that's how you know exactly where you are when you're playing at fast tempos. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how I would take this exercise and develop it speed-wise. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to get a goal tempo. Let's say our goal tempo for today is 200 beats per minute. Now normally I would start this pretty low on the metronome, maybe about 100 or so, and it would take me quite a while to get to 200. But for the video's purpose, I'll start at about 120 and I'll increase it in larger increments than I would normally do, just to save some time. And what's going to happen is by the time I get to 200, hopefully not only should it be wailing, but it should also be clean. Another thing to keep in mind is your technique that you're using when you're playing slow should be the same technique that you use when you're playing fast. In other words, when you're playing slow, you're programming in your technique. So when you play fast, be consistent in your hand position and also in your left hand position, your right and left. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we finally reached 200. Now, like I said before, normally that would take a lot longer because I'd go in increments of 8. Now, if you find at any point along that development that you just don't have it, it's not coming together, it's not clean, like I'm going up to 200. If 176, I felt like I was pushing it, it's a good idea to back the metronome down, go to a slower speed. So I was at 200, let's say that was difficult, I'll go back down to about 170. Try to get comfortable there first. And then go back up to 200 and see how it feels. On a similar note, if you reach this desired speed that you're going to and you still want to push the envelope a little further, what you can do is, let's say you want to hit 208 now. Go past 208, go to like 216 and just kill yourself, and then go back to 208, and that tempo will feel a lot easier. Let's attempt that. That was very difficult. Let's go back down to 208 and see if it's any easier now. Okay, so it's pretty much there. So you get the idea about pushing the envelope and then going back. Just remember, make sure that you're clean and accurate, and remember to accent the notes as well. Okay, now I'd like to demonstrate the same technique, building speed and accuracy, but this time with a 16th note triplet pattern. You're going to play 6 notes per beat, and it's based off of a 3-note per string pattern in E minor. So here it goes. One, two, three, four. Okay, then you would follow the same steps to get to your goal tempo. Let's say your goal tempo in this case is about 126. Let's hear what it sounds like at that tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4.